Simplified Chaos, episode 56.
Life is beautiful and full of chaos.
And it can get slightly out of hand if that shit's not tamed.
We're here to share how to simplify the little things to help you lead a more intentional life.
This is Simplified Chaos.
Hello, wonderful friends. Welcome to Simplified Chaos. This is Jillian, one of your hosts, and I'm with my co-host and husband, Nicholas.
What's going on, folks? Got another great episode for you today. Thank you for listening in. Jilly, what are we talking about?
Today's topic is why we're branding ourselves.
Ooh.
And I know a lot of people are probably thinking, branding, isn't that like for entrepreneurs and
marketing
yeah. And it is, but we have found the benefits of personally branding ourselves, and I'm excited to dive into that process and what we've realized doing it.
I am too, because I think this is an eye-opening topic, and I don't think a lot of people look at themselves in this way, and I feel like it's a topic where really you have to really truly dig down and find out who you are. So I'm excited to talk a little bit more about that as well. So we're going to get into that. But before we do that, let's show a little gratitude, Jilly. What are you grateful for this fine day, evening, week?
Like it's 8 o'clock.
It's Wednesday. We're recording on a Wednesday. We usually do Thursday nights because we have a dinner with your dad and Tanya tomorrow. So
we are flexible.
We are flexible.
Well, so I dropped my iPhone a little bit ago.
Yes, you did.
Because I decided not to put a case on it because it helped me not grab my phone as much in certain situations, and it finally caught up with me, and it fell out of my pocket after I went for a walk at school.
You have an iPhone 6, so you had this phone for an awful long time.
I did. I love that thing, and I, just like my wardrobe, I wear it to the death. I use it to the death as soon as it's had its life, and it's like, all right, I cannot use this phone anymore because the broken glass could cause damage to somebody.
Yeah, probably our daughter,
yes,
who likes to grab our phones and swipe, and
I know
it was definitely a hazard for her.
It was. So I am grateful for you, honey, and your
me? What did I do?
Your nerd-like tactics when researching phones.
Yes,
because you enjoyed doing that. When I went there, I was so ready to be like, I'm just going to stick to iPhones. I was going to be like, I'm going to stick to what I know because I don't have the bandwidth to learn anything else.
That's exactly what you told me. And I was like, you know what? I am not going to say anything else because that's what you said.
And we got there, and I think I asked for the iPhone 8, and then you were looking around and you heard the price of the iPhone 8.
Yeah, I was really shocked that 2.5 years later that it was, what was it, $450?
Something like that.
Get the hell out of here.
And then you were like, so this Google Pixel 3a is cheaper and it's got all the great benefits that you want.
And it just came out last summer.
Yeah. And the guy helping us was like, yeah, so that's a really awesome phone, and it has this and it has this. And I said, okay, but between both of you, like, I trust your judgment first and foremost. And
I'm
you're
glad
right.
You trust me.
The transition has been very smooth, and any Apple lovers out there, I'm telling you, this was like, the camera on this phone is unbelievable. And it's really simple. I did not think it was going to be as simple as an iPhone.
And you're not breaking the bank for it either.
No, and I am really, really enjoying my new Google phone, and I'm excited to try something new. So thank you for forcing me out of my Apple box and to try something new.
Well, you got it, babe.
I
didn't know if you were going to go into it with an open mind, because the night before you were like, nah, I just don't have the bandwidth to learn something new. And then, the next day, I mean, you're like, well, I'm all about saving money. And that was kind of the driver. And then you're like, okay, I'll give it a shot. And then 15 minutes later, you're walking out with a Pixel 3a. I'm proud of you, honey.
Thank you. I appreciate it.
Trying new things.
I am.
I dig it.
But what about you? What are you grateful for?
YouTube
University.
YouTube, and damn it, you hit the nail on the head, Jilly. YouTube University, because I do watch some YouTube videos for knowledge and fun, particularly with technology and phones. I like to keep up with the latest on that just because I'm a nerd. But we have a special project that we're working on. Not going to say what it is, but I will say that YouTube has been very helpful in getting me through this process. And we will have a surprise for you all very shortly. I'm sure a lot of you can guess what it is, and especially if you saw an Instagram story that I posted earlier. I guess it would be about a week ago when you all are listening to this. But yeah, I'm very excited for this project that we're working on, and I think you all will be too.
And it looks beautiful, and I know you've been working really hard on it and doing a lot of research and making sure that you're getting it the way you want to get it, even though I'm like, just put it out there. And you're like, no, Jilly, it needs to be just right.
Yes. So y'all probably know what we're talking about, but I'm not saying it until we're ready to do this.
Okay.
Yeah. So yeah, thank you, YouTube. You've kept my sanity. I appreciate those creators out there who are trying to make people's lives just a little bit easier, and it's the reason why we do what we do too. Is, you know, we're creating content to really try to help you simplify the things in your lives that are causing chaos, causing stress,
We sound
anxiety.
like a commercial.
I know.
You're so
But
cheesy.
it's just you gotta sometimes have the cheese. You know me, I'm a big goofball.
I know.
Yeah. Tell them what they won, Johnny.
I know.
I
What
know.
episode
That's what
was
you-
that?
a
It's because
couple one ago.
you sounded just like a
I
talk
know.
show host.
I can't help myself sometimes.
Maybe that can be your next job. You can just go into the talk show business.
Anybody out there, Price is Right when Drew Carey's done.
Price is wrong, bitch.
I'm your man. Call me up.
Oh, man.
All right, Jilly.
Cool.
Let's talk a little branding.
All right, so why we branded ourselves? Well, I just wanted to start off by saying how we even started doing this, at least the why behind how I got started. So originally, I wanted to brand myself and be really intentional about it because of my blog. I
Right.
really don't use my blog for a moneymaker at all. Like, my blog is my creative outlet. It's for fun. Yes, I have a side hustle where I can offer services for helping people in health and wellness, but really, I'm happy with my full-time job teaching, and it's really just there for fun. Like, I really enjoy writing and blogging and putting out recipes and just helping people.
Yeah, and your blog's evolved over time with the seasons of life that you've been in. It
Yes.
started off as one thing and has evolved into something a little bit more, and you're offering content in a lot of different areas than in just one area.
Yes.
But yeah, you're not actively seeking business through
No.
your blog site. When it comes up and people ask you about it, you're happy to talk about it, but you're not out there like with these little pop-up ads and all this stuff. You know, it's just very organic what you're doing.
Yeah, so, but something in me was like, I want to change in my website, or I just want it to be more cohesive with who I am and what I'm about. And honestly, I didn't know the right questions to ask myself. I didn't even know what direction to go in. I always hear that word branding. Like, I'm hearing it in my school, like, we're branding our school. And I'm like, what is this thing about branding? Like, I know I hear it in the marketing world, but what is it really? So I started digging deeper and researching about branding. And as I did find, which I will share, I found a resource that helped me brand who I was. And I was so fascinated by the process because it makes you ask the questions about basically finding out, what are your strengths? You know, how do you want to help people? And then how do you want to get that message out in a cohesive way instead of just being all over the place, not really knowing what your direction is? And it's pretty much like how we're living our life. Like, I feel like we had to determine our values to find out what we want in life, what direction we want to go in. And that makes you say no and kind of kick out all the distractions that are getting in the way. And I feel like branding was that for me. It really helped find myself in who I was as a person. What are my strengths today? How do I want to help people today? Because I know it's going to be constantly changing, but it made me really enthusiastic discovering more about myself. And it sounds really weird, but it just asked the right questions to help me get in the mindset of really knowing who I am, what do I want to do, and what kind of people I want to pursue and get to know more through that process.
And it's easier said than done. A lot of companies struggle with their identity and their brand, and oftentimes they're trying to keep up with the Joneses and really don't, you know, when they see their competitors out there doing one thing, they're like, oh, well, we got to do it the same way. And they really don't know the value that they offer. They're trying to be somebody they're not. And I think we can take what businesses do, because we talk about this often in our podcast anyway, is that we treat ourselves and our family as a business. And we can do this the same way with our personal lives. You know, we want to understand who we are. And that's sometimes one of the biggest challenges, that we know who we are, but we always are looking at other people and trying to be
Yes.
what they want us to be. And it's not
Expectations.
exactly.
Yes.
So oftentimes you can come across as inauthentic or not genuine. And it's because you're trying to be something that you're not. I always go back and say, like, one of the times that I was like the most comfortable in my entire life was our first date. We were. I mean, for me, I was able to let my guard down for some reason. I don't know what it was, but like, I had the best conversation with you. I felt like I was myself. I felt like I understood myself more than at any point in my life. And so that's kind of those things where, you kind of know when it happens, but again, it's very tough. Like, you really have to do a lot of reflecting and write down your values and, what you believe in. And then from there, you can really start, digging in and start building your brand. And I'm not saying like build it like a business, but it'll help you in your everyday interactions, with being comfortable with who you are, saying what you want to say, and not being afraid of how other people are judging you. I'm kind of just rambling here, but I mean, that's just kind of the, I think the biggest benefit of branding is really you're understanding who you are.
Exactly. And again, it's a simple act, but it takes work. And it was kind of difficult to answer questions that you think would come easy to you. Like, what do you want out of life? Or what are your strengths? And it's really sometimes hard to pat ourselves in the back or to really say, I'm really good at this. And this is what I feel confident in doing. And sometimes that's really difficult to tell ourselves, because there's just so much chaos and distractions and other voices and social norms that are just constantly putting things in our head that we should be doing it that way, when really we just got to tune into ourselves. And that's why I like branding. It helps you tune into yourself and just listen to what really you want out of life. And you're right. We treat our life like a business. And I feel like anything I was reading about branding, anytime it mentioned the word business, I would just say my family or me. Like, I would just automatically
just
change the word business to me. And I find that once you start doing that, it's like, this makes total sense. Like, it directly aligns to how we living, like just the day to day, not just to make money. It's like how to be fucking happy and healthy. And it just seemed, I'm going to say simpatico again.
That's the word.
It's simpatico. Yeah. But I think it just helps you be 100% committed to yourself and who you are. And you're more confident once you start that process. And anyway, we're kind of going off, and I know that was the why. The why was because I wanted to change my blog, and then I kind of went off a tangent, and I said, Nick, like, branding myself is phenomenal. Like, why isn't everybody branding themselves? Yeah. Whether they want to sell something or have a website, I feel like it's just so enlightening.
Yeah, it really is. And, branding is in everything that you do. It's how you talk. It's how you write. It's the images and videos that you share on social media. And people can see, again, I said this before, but people can see through the fakeness. They can see when things are staged. People want to see authentic. They want to see people in the moment enjoying themselves, but not
having
staged.
the struggles and things not being perfect.
And you know what? More people resonate when things aren't perfect than when you get the perfect picture. And I think there's something powerful in that, especially if you post a picture and then there's just a great message that goes along with that picture. And I think you do an excellent job with that, on your Instagram, on your blog, with the Simplified Chaos Instagram account. Like, there's a lot of, you're not only just posting an image, but there's a story that goes along with it. And it's very authentic. Like, it's you. Like, when I read those words, and I know you better than most people, I should, because I'm your husband, but it's you. Like, I see you when you're writing those words, and you've come, a long way, but it's because you practice it every day. You're doing it every day. You take time out of every day to work on it and get better at it. And it's really showing. Like, I feel like your posts are getting more and more powerful each day.
Thanks, boo. And that's kind of one of the benefits that I'm seeing. Again, I want to dive into like why branding yourself is worth it. And one of the benefits I've noticed is that I feel like I can be the same person in any environment. I'm the same person when I'm teaching. I'm the same person when I'm with you. I'm the same person when I'm with my friends. I'm not like pretending to be, oh, this is teacher Jill. I'm turned on and this is the language I'm going to use. Like, obviously, I don't cuss in front of my students, but I just feel like I'm the same authentic me throughout any canvas of life that I'm in. Like, I am just the same because branding has helped me identify who I am as a person. What are my unique gifts? What are my unique talents? You know, what am I good at? You know, what am I bringing the world that I think people could benefit, and not being afraid to share it or voice that. And yes, a lot of times I'm realizing it comes in storytelling. So I find out through the process I'm becoming a better writer, which I never thought writing would be my forte. Like, I really did not like writing in middle school or high school.
Right,
and now
right.
I'm enjoying the process because it's my life. Like,
Yeah.
it's fun sharing about the joys and the lows and what you're learning about it, and just putting it out there and seeing who else is connecting.
And I think the toughest part is just getting over being judged. Like, anybody can write about what's going on in their lives. Like, when you really put down, writing is an essential tool that we all are capable of doing. But I think it's like either you don't want to put the time into it, or you're afraid of what other people are going to think and say about you. But really, you know, this is our life, and this is, you know, what we do. Like, when we talk on the podcast, we talk about the things that, you know, we are experiencing, and you all might not be experiencing the same thing, or you might be. And, you know, for those who are experiencing the same things as us, you know, our message may resonate a little bit more. There might be other topics where things don't resonate, but at the same time, you know, I think that people really enjoy that we share the most personal details of our lives and don't really hide anything. And, you know, we're not really worried about people judging us because we're both very comfortable with where we're at in our lives, the people who we surround ourselves with. And it's just, it really helps us, you know, with our mental well-being and our happiness. And I don't know, it's just one of those things that I think we've reached that point where we're always going to continue to grow, but we're now comfortable with who we are.
Yes.
And it's for me, it's taken almost 38 years.
I was going to say, it sounds weird saying that I am the most comfortable and confident in my skin than I've ever been. And I mean, I know it's not just through the branding process, but this is like the final touch-ups, like just thinking about it and analyzing. It's like, I truly know, what do I stand for? What I am good at, and how can I share that? And I think once I put this as one of the benefit, I think once you feel this confident, you're open to express it to a lot more people. Like, you don't have trouble finding the words when you're having conversation with friends or new people or coworkers, or when you're writing a post on social media, or when you are, you know, maybe writing a blog post or whatever you're doing creatively. I feel like there is no guilt in what you're feeling, because you know, like, this is the path for me. I feel it in my gut. It's making me really fucking enthusiastic. So I feel like once you have that confidence in being who you are, it's like you have there's no fear about communicating that in whatever modality that is for you, whatever way you want to create or show that, whether it's art or creating pictures or making music, like whatever that
Whatever
vehicle
speaks to you, yeah.
Whatever that vehicle for creation. And I know there's so many creative, like, we're all creative. It's just finding that what speaks to you and just running to it. So I find that once you are branding yourself or finding out who you are and you're confident, there's an ease to it where there's no, I know I'm rambling too.
It's okay. Like, we're very passionate about this.
Yes.
And, you know, have a lot to say. So, you know, for me,
there's just no doubt. There's no doubt.
Yeah. And for me, I know I'm a goofball, and that's something that I embrace. And yes, it means me dropping the corny jokes from time to time on this podcast, and people are like, what the hell is he talking about? But I'm good at corny jokes. Am I right? Yeah.
My dad's a lot better.
I know. He is really good at that too. But yeah, you know, for me, I think a lot of things have clicked within the past year, and I really attribute it to us just starting this podcast and us really not doing like a hell of a lot of planning at the very beginning of it. It's just like, let's just dive in and do it. And we've gotten to the point where we know what we want to talk about. We've got like this process down as far as planning for an episode, doing the episode, publishing it, But, I think I've learned the most, in this past year, not only, from this podcast, but from being a parent and, watching Lucille grow up. And I think that's all part of our brand. It's how we're expressing ourselves. We're, again, like I said, we're talking about our most intimate details of our lives, and we're completely comfortable with it.
I find that the branding process of just identifying who you are and what you want in life, it helps you, I like to say, steer clear of comparisonitis.
Ah, yes.
So once you're like confident in who you are, it's like you don't even comparing yourself to other people is just, you're over it. You're so over it because you know that you're on the right track. So I love that I can go on social media and post something and I might scroll for a little bit, but really I see things and I don't get that little voice in my head anymore. Like, why aren't you wearing that shirt?
Or why aren't we traveling to so-and-so place? And my mindset has changed too. It's just like, I'm happy for these people. I'm happy that they're happy with their clothes, with their traveling. And there's no reason to be jealous or have that fear of missing out or anything like that. I mean, social media can be a place where, you have some really great, inspiring, authentic posts.
Absolutely.
And then you have the stuff that's kind of staged, and you can kind of tell that. And again, it all goes into to the branding and whatnot. But like, we're trying to use it for good and to try to spread a positive message. And we hope that people are, resonating with the stuff that we're putting out there.
And I think sometimes branding has this connotation of sounding fake. Like if you're branding, it means you're putting on a show. Honestly, I thought the same thing until I started diving deep and doing the process. And I'm like,
right.
No, branding means you're just finding yourself. It's like a therapist is talking to you and asking you the right questions. And you're like,
that's a great way to put it.
Like, yeah, that you are describing me. Like that is me. It's like a third party is like listening in and just asking you the questions that you need to answer in order to find out who you are. And another benefit from this process is that I find that once you know who you are and what you stand for and what you're great at and how you want to help people, then you know what kind of people you want to be around. You know what kind of people you want to surround yourself with. So I find that we are more assertive than ever about the community we want to surround ourselves with and who we want to reach out to and get to know more. And I think that doing this process has led us to the interviewing process. Like we're reaching out to people that are like-minded and just have that growth mindset. And I'm very grateful for that because I don't think I was ever this confident in reaching out to new people. It scared the hell out of me meeting new people. Like I always said, I don't know how you go out and network, Nick. Like how do you go out and meet new people and like connect? Like that's like, I could never do that. And now I find myself.
Usually a little whiskey's involved. No, I'm just kidding.
But I'm like, I was the one who initiated, let's go out and meet people face to face that I've never met face to face. And it's just crazy that came from me. Like that would have never came from me 2 years ago.
Right.
And it's like this great unknown, giddy, exciting feeling. It's scary, but it's like,
think about it.
It makes me light up.
We invited 2 strangers into our home and did our first interview. And if you haven't heard it yet, go back and check out episode 54.
Yes, Amy and Brian.
Who we now consider good friends.
We're
and
BFFs,
we can't wait to,
even if they don't
we
think
can't
so.
wait to hang out. But you know what? We're getting ready to go on an airplane on Friday, which will be this past Friday for those listening. And we're taking Lucille with us, and we've met another person that we're really excited to interview. And, this is not only helping us meet new people, but it's helping us to travel places that we never thought that we would go. Like, I was joking around and saying that I would probably never go to St. Louis unless it was with my friends and we were going to catch Orioles playing the Cardinals out there. But, like, I never really thought of a reason for me to ever want to travel to St. Louis with you or Lucille and the family. So we're trying a new place and we're going to meet some new people and we're really excited about it. And like you said, all this wouldn't happen if we weren't comfortable with who we are and being a little bit more adventurous with what, we're doing, not only with ourselves, but with this podcast.
And I think simplifying our life for leading us to the whole branding aspect. And I find that I know the label branding just sounds weird saying it, but honestly, like simplifying branding, it all has led to us just stripping away all of this excess shit that we are carrying, the baggage or just the things that were around us that were weighing us down from who we truly wanted to be. And now I feel freer than ever. And I feel like just overall, just branding, or whatever you want to call it, I find that it just helps you uncover your story, who you are, where you came from, and it really helps you figure out what your values are and how to align them to what you want to be and how you want to live.
Yeah. Again, this is something that I really wish that was instilled in everybody in grade school, in high school, particularly in high school. I think it's when people are really starting to find themselves.
I'm trying.
And really, maybe that's what people need in high school, especially when their identity's all over the place and you have parents telling them, you need to know what you want to be when you grow up because you got to go to college in 2 years and you need to pick a major and all that stuff. And kids, these teenagers are still trying to find out who the hell they are. But maybe if we taught a little bit about branding in high school, when people understand it, when they're going through some of the craziest changes in their lives, when they're trying to find out who they are, where they're trying to fit in with with their peers. Maybe if people really sat down and said, okay, this is how you brand yourself. This is how you discover who you really are and what value you bring to your friends and to society. Maybe people would have a much clearer direction and even choose whether or not college is right for them or not. Like, I think a lot of kids go to college because their parents tell them they have to go to college.
Absolutely.
And most of them graduate $100,000 in debt and have no direction after college. It's crazy to me. So I really, really, really wish, and shame on me for discovering this until I was 35 years old, 36 years old.
Never too late.
It's never too late. And that's the whole point of it. But God, I wish they would teach this a lot younger. Like, actually teach life skills and really help people succeed in life. Because I feel like we're all still scrambling to find our identities.
And I know we're always going to be searching and changing, but I'm 100% agreeing and shaking my head as you're speaking because, I mean, as a third grade teacher right now, I'm not calling it branding, but I constantly am shoving this message down my kids' throats. Like, I call it "Get Your Weird On," and I have it in the room so they all know what it means. It's like each one of you is so unique, and you need to own your weirdness and just show it off because that's what makes you you, and that's what makes you so different than everybody else. But yeah, I 100% agree that I find that more people would know their direction and how they want to help people and what really lights them up to make them happy as hell. Like when they would leave school and, venture out into the real world.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think that's a good note to end on, not unless you had anything else.
No, that was really my biggest thing. And I know there is I don't know if it's a homeschooling thing, but praxeology. I've heard a little bit about that from time to time, where I know that...
praxis.
Praxis, yeah, it's praxis.
It's the same name as the teaching test that I had to take.
Exactly. But I know within that curriculum, they do teach branding and marketing oneself and whatnot. And if we're blessed the way that we hope that we are, maybe that's the direction Lucille goes into. But again, we're going to try to make sure that she's able to make her own choices too. So it has to be something that she wants to do. So we'll see what happens. But yeah, I think this is a good note to move on to some resources here, Jilly.
Yes.
What you got?
So I had to share the resource that I use to help brand myself. This is the whole reason why we're podcasting about it. It's because I was so enlightened going through this process.
Yeah.
So the resource I used is from a blog post, and the website is brandmary.com.
Brand Mary, M-A-R-Y?
M-E-R-R-Y.
Oh, M-E-R-R-Y.
And we'll put it in the show notes.
We definitely will.
From Michelle Knight.
Ooh.
Who
you may be hearing from soon.
We may be hearing from soon. No spoiler alert, a little bit. Anyway, it's called Roadmap to Branding, or Personal Brand Roadmap. And she gives a nice little, like she says, a nice little roadmap and some easy steps to kind of get you started in figuring out who you are and the people you want to be around. So I'll just list some of the steps. And again, if you hear the word business or anything, you kind of just apply it to your life.
Personal me. The first step she has is just uncover your story. Like, what are your strengths, skills, unique gifts? Like, who are you? What happened? That's it. Write it down.
And again, it sounds simple, but you really have to dive deep.
Yeah.
Number 2 is understand your audience. So it's honestly, I took it as this: Who do you want to connect with? Who do you really want to be friends with? What kind of people do you want in your life?
Yeah.
It really helps you identify that. Number 3, create strong messaging. So basically, it's like, what do you stand for? And it helps you kind of stay consistent in how you want to carry yourself, if that makes any sense. Like the word choice you want to use. Like if I want to be a positive person and I want to be motivating, well, I can't complain. I can't talk like this. Like it just kind of helps you motivate you to speak in a way with the person you want to be. That makes sense.
And speak with confidence too. Like once you understand who you are and what you stand for, you're able to talk about it with confidence. And when you talk with confidence, people will really, again, I go back to authenticity, but that's a huge part of it. So yeah, good stuff.
Number 4 is package your expertise. So whether you know it or not, we all have our own talents. This is just, how do you want to help people and how can you share your gifts? Whether it's, just talking to people or just maybe you create something physical and you're really good at sharing that. It could even be singing or dance. Like it could be something so small, but it lights people up and it makes them happy. So I find that, what is that?
And don't discount the small things because that can be something that's really big for somebody else.
That's what we're all about. Simplifying, like figuring out the little things that make you happy and other people happier.
Exactly.
So I have 2 more, I think. 5 is find your authentic voice. And I know you keep saying the word authentic, but it's true. It just helps you find the real you and being you consistently across wherever you are in any environment. And number 6 is bringing your brand to life.
Yes.
So bringing you to the world, like stop being afraid of showing it and just give it to the world because that's what the world really wants. It wants your energy, your unique energy, not you pretending or trying to be or doing things that you should think like
or what other people
yes.
You do it because you enjoy it, you like it, and it brings value to others.
Can I say that branding has brought a brand new me? That was not good.
So maybe I'm not the corny one in this group, and maybe that's you. So I've been dethroned.
Oh, it was bad. My dad's been here too long. I'm picking up his corniness.
All right. Anything else along the lines of resources?
No.
Well, we'll put that link in the show notes.
Yes.
On to the quote of the day here, Jilly. What is the quote of the day?
So I'm keeping it consistent and simple. Our quote of the day is from Michelle Knight, who wrote that blog post.
Nice.
Here it goes.
Michelle, you're getting all the love today.
You are. The beautiful part about a strong brand is that it will attract the right people and repel the wrong ones.
I love that. Spot on, Michelle.
I thought so.
Wonderful. All right. And lastly, what do you want our listeners to do? What action do they need to take?
So glad you asked. Your take action challenge today is try branding yourself. Even if you're not an entrepreneur, you're not selling anything, try branding yourself. Go through some of the steps and you will be amazed at what you see about yourself.
Hell yeah. All right, folks. I think that'll do it for today's episode.
Yes.
All right. Well, remember, if you like this episode, please share it with a friend or on social media because sharing sparks a conversation. Conversation leads to action. And action is how we're able to live a happy and intentional as hell lifestyle. We want to thank you all for listening today, and we will see you again next week.
See you later, guys.